Hi, everybody, and welcome to Be in the Know, table games and more. And tonight it's the more part of that, as we do a round two with the Vice President of Operations for all that is D-isms down in downtown, the D, the Golden Gate, and Circa, Vice President of Operations, Mike Palm. Mike, welcome to Be in the Know.
Benny, I'm really impressed with what you've done with this program. I mean, this Be in the Know is like a charging freight train. It's like when you fed Towner's big guys some open racetrack coming down the stretch in Sacramento. I mean, it's unstoppable right now.
Well, we are gaining momentum. I mean, last week's show with Roger Snow of SG was one of the fastest. I mean, it's moving so quickly. It might blow your record away, Mike. You know, you've got the top spot now. But you got some challenges, and we're going to have to try to move you back and guarantee that top spot with this show tonight. So,
well, Benny, you know that Derek Stevens' two mantras are continuous improvement and a relentless positive attitude. So we're going to try to top the round one tonight.
We're going to nail it. We really are. So big Labor Day weekend. You're right at the end of it right now. I watched some videos, Mike. Fremont Street last night was jam-packed. It didn't look, it wasn't a poster for social distancing by no means. And what was your thoughts? What did you see out there? Was you down there last night?
Yeah, but at least it wasn't the Ozarks. So comparatively speaking, it's tough there. It's an open air mall, so obviously there's not as many restrictions. Of course, the city of Las Vegas, as you know, Benny, is responsible for the Fremont district, not the county, which is the Strip. So that's one of the things that's going on out here in Nevada with this mitigation task force, and they go county by county in determining where they're at in the stages of reopening. And so there's a lot of different entities in Clark County that have to work together. I mean, the city has to work with the county, has to work with Henderson, has to work with Mesquite. So that's some of the challenges. But all the casino owners have said, we welcome more enforcement officials. We welcome more regulation. We truly want to get things rolling. Our long bar's been closed, Benny. It's been closed down for months. All we really have is Bar Canada. I know you haven't had a chance to see it yet. It is beautiful, but it's a very large space up on the second floor where the showroom used to be next to the D Grill, which hasn't reopened yet. And because we have tables there and the cocktail waitresses can bring you beverages and we can serve food, we're allowed to serve alcohol. But the bars are closed. There's no beverages over the bar top. And, of course, all the machines are shut off. So, as you know, the bars in our company in particular generate so much energy. So to have bar prohibition and long bar and this not in operation, it really hurts the table games department. Especially.
Well, the long bar is one of the most special and unique experiences in Las Vegas. I mean, if you haven't ever been there, you need to make the trip once the bars are back open. And I watched a couple videos today from some of the local bar owners there, and their frustration is evident when they see these crowds on Fremont Streets being able to openly do whatever they do there. And they're really making efforts to keep their businesses safe and sound, and they're not allowed to open their doors. So it's very frustrating. So I guess we'll see in 3 weeks from now if we get a spike in Las Vegas. Hopefully not, because the cases seem to be starting to come under control, really nationwide right now. Will we have a second wave? Whatever. Well, we'll have to see that. The Palm Reader made a prediction last time around on whether we'd have a second shutdown, and the odds weren't very good for a second shutdown. So I think we're going to be all right. So let's move on. Let's move on to something a little bit more entertaining than COVID-19 and things that are going on there. I seen a big deal. You guys just partnered. Circus Sports is now going to take over the sports book at the Tuscany. This is a big step forward for Circa, right?
It's a huge deal, actually. As your friend Richard Wilk would say, it's huge. It's a big deal. The Tuscany is a great location because it's close to the Strip, 2 blocks off the Strip. But you have all that surface parking, and the sports book there, which currently is being run by William Hill, and we'll take over March. March 1st is when we'll go in there and do a remodel so that we can brand it to look like a Circus Sports. We'll be open by the time March Madness tips off. But the sportsbook's located right at the front door. So there's tremendous ease of access. It's a beautiful property. Benny, I worked there when I moved to Las Vegas. I worked there in 2005. I opened the poker room there. It's an all-suite hotel, beautiful grounds, huge rooms. They all have kitchens, very plush vegetation there, a beautiful pool setting. We met with the owner, actually, who's a single owner like Derek. It's not a corporation, right? It's a single proprietor. And we met with him in April when it was shut down. We toured the property. He's an innovative guy. He liked what Circus Sports was doing. He liked how aggressive Derek's been. He said, I think it would work. And we put a pitch together for him, and they liked it. And the Gaming Commission approved it. So it's going to happen in March. It's one of the great locations. It's a top 10 location in the state for William Hill. And, they have over 150. And now with the merger with Caesars and El Dorado, they'll have over 300 locations in the state of Nevada. So it's a big move for us. We got into Colorado. We're slowly there. We're learning to crawl before we walk. But Tuscany's a big step. When we announced it, I would say within 12 hours, I received maybe 10 to 15 text messages from people saying, this is huge. That's a great location. When I come to town, I stay on the strip. Now I'll be able to bet at Circus Sports, or I live in town, but I don't live near downtown. Tuscany is much closer. It's 10, 15 minutes away. I love to go to Tuscany. So we're so excited for this.
Yeah, and I would guess, knowing Derek and knowing you and how your guys' mind think, this is the tip of the iceberg, and what's going to end up pushing more people towards your joining on the bandwagon and bringing in Circus Sports is you guys will offer bets that people just can't get in a traditional sport book. Is that correct?
We do. We offer bets. You know what we offer on these hockey games? You can bet each period shots on goal over under.
Really? That's
a unique offering. The hold is very low. I mean, we're offering takeout on these races, 12%. The golf, it comes down during the week. It starts at 25%, but as you get into the golf tournament, it's under 15%. Most other books are taking out 35 to 40% on their golf futures. Okay, so it's an interesting model, Benny. It's a little bit like the table games model with 3 to 2 and 10 times odds. It's a low hold, high volume, and in the sportsbook case, high limits model, right? So it's going to take time to grow. We're starting to see it now. I mean, we're writing $1 million every day now. I mean, I would have told you 6 months ago, I didn't know if that was possible, or even at Super Bowl time, that we could consistently have $1 million in handle every day. But it's growing, and now we're starting to get the ball rolling, and it's really exciting.
Well, there's never anyone who could say that Derek Stevens don't put out an innovative product or is scared to take a chance or a gamble. I mean, let's talk about your football contest. I mean, here's a great value for anyone who's really into sports betting, and especially the NFL. This is a great contest, and right now it's an incredible value because you're eating most of the cost right now, right?
Well, we've had a great push, especially the last week. So just to give you a little bit of the background, last year we opened June 1st, and we said, let's do a football contest. And, the Westgate's the king of the hill, the Superbook. They did 3,500 people last year with a $1,500 buy-in. We did a similar contest with the 5 picks against the spread with a $1,000 buy-in. And we put a little innovation into it. We said, we're going to make quarterly payouts. So it's really 5 contests in one. The first 4 weeks, second, fourth, third, four, and last 5 are their own contests. And that was such a big hit that the Westgate put it in this year into theirs. So last year they did about 3,500. We did 1,850. So we were pretty proud of ours. Nobody knew who we were. We only paid the top 10. That was a complaint. We only paid 10 spots. Well, we guaranteed 1.5 million, Benny, but who knows? People never heard of us. And it's a national contest, of course, with the proxies available. So we didn't know. We didn't know if there'd be any brand recognition, but we did well, 1,850. All of it went back in. All of it, every penny goes back to the players. So when it goes over the guarantee, we pay out more than we said we were going to. whereas some others are 8% ranked, such as that. So here we are, we're sitting here, early in the year, and we said, what are we going to do with football contests? So everybody's feeling good. Derek said, I think we should be able to do 3,000. Nobody knew who we were. Our name is out there. I've done a lot of advertising, a lot of TV, national TV. I think we can do 3,000. Let's guarantee 3 million this year. Let's pay out all the way down to 50 spots. Let's guarantee the quarters are worth $250,000 each. 125,000 to first, 75 second, 53rd. Let's do all of this. And build this contest up. And then let's add a last man standing or a survivor where you just pick one team, no spread. You can only use the team once, and you have to keep advancing. And you can buy up to 5 of those, 1,000. And we'll guarantee in the survivor $1 million to the winner, whoever lasts the longest. And then we threw 2 wrinkles in. We threw in, let's make the 3 games on Thanksgiving Day their own week. So that adds a lot more strategy because you got to save one of those 6 teams, right? If you come to Thanksgiving and you use those 6 teams, you're out. And then also Derek said if any one person or people go 18-0 with that added Thanksgiving Day, he'd add $1 million to the pool. So all of a sudden, we're sitting on $4 million in guarantees, $3 million for Circa $1.2 million and $1 million for Survivor. And then, oh, by the way, here comes this little thing called COVID. And air travel ceases, shutdowns everywhere, stay-at-home orders. The casinos were actually closed for 11 weeks. Air travel still, of course, nowhere near what we had seen previous to this. And so we said, holy cow, what is going to happen? We're going to eat 2 million here, 2.5 million. I mean, 3 weeks ago, we had like 350 in the Circa $1.2 million and 80 people in the Survivor. So it looked grim. And then we built it up. Last Wednesday, I think we were at 550 or 600 in the Circa $1.2 million and about 200 in the Survivor. And we've had just an incredible week. Really started out Thursday night. I just checked before we went on air with you, Benny, and we're talking to each other on Labor Day evening. We're at 1881 in the Circa $1.2 million, which is past last year's Circa $1 million, and at 769 in the Survivor. So we got 5 days to go. Registration stops Saturday at 2:00. So we might even get to the 1,000 in the Survivor, maybe 23 or 2,400 in the Circa $1.2 million. But maybe this overlay is less than 750,000, maybe even less than 500,000.
Yeah, well, that's good, great considering what you've been up against with no travel. I mean, some people just will not make the bet unless they're making it themselves, right? The proxy just.
Yeah, here's the other thing. We're still questioning, is there going to be a football season?
Yeah.
Do I want to come out to Las Vegas and invest, $1,000 to $8,000, depending on how many entries I get, and then, the season cancels. And they ask, well, what if it cancels after 4 weeks, 6 weeks? And we have all the provisions in. It's got to go 12 weeks for the $1.2 million to be official, but we'll pay out the quarters. So let's say it cancels after week 10. We'll still pay out the first 3 quarters and we'll eat the 750,000, right? And for the Survivor, we said 12 weeks. So if it doesn't go 12 weeks, then it's not official. So it's built into the rules, but everybody's worried, what's going to happen? What happens if they cancel games because of COVID? What happens if they cancel games because of social justice protesting, right? So many variables, but it's incredible. It's, to me, mind-boggling right now that we're at these numbers.
Yeah, I think you've done really well. So let's move on to Circa. When last time we talked, it was about 90 days out. Now we're just a month plus out of Circa. How's construction and everything on track?
Well, we actually a lot of people moved into the offices over there on Friday. We had a temporary occupancy for part of the office space up to 100 people. And then on the 18th, 2 Fridays later, it's fully occupiable. So I didn't move yet because I've got too much to do at the D, but I'm over there 3 times a week. We're walking the properties. You have some, oh, shoot moments. Oh, wait a minute. What about this? What's this? How do we fix this? Isn't quite the way we planned but we just put the tables in on Wednesday and we measured out the tables and we're looking at the surveillance shots, and we have an interesting roulette pit on the first floor right by the bigger bar that resembles long bar. I won't get mega bar. It's called. It's a triangle roulette pit with three two-sided wheels. So that's an interesting little lab. But we're doing all the shots, and most importantly, we're testing the music and how much we can blow it out there on both levels of the casino.
get the monitors out there. So you might as well
Yeah.
just put the MBs or DBs or whatever up on a screen. Maybe you take the over under. So yeah, it's exciting to look at the pictures and everything. And you know, I've opened a couple properties. I've opened a couple expansions, and that alone is a major task, Mike. But do a grand opening of a casino during a worldwide pandemic is epic. It's epic. I mean, you guys are doing something that will maybe never done again. I mean, this is monumental. I mean, just to pull it off, opening night is just got to be. The anticipation has to be off the charts for Derek.
It is, and we still have a long way to go. I mean, we've hired 850 out of 1,300. So I mean, we still have another 450. Maybe not that high, because now remember, the hotel isn't going to open till late December. Mm-hmm. So the hotel staff really doesn't have to be on till early December. But everybody else, you know, we've got the pool, all the restaurants, and the 2 levels of the casino. You know, they're opening, and the garage, let's not forget Garage Mahal, they're opening up October 28th. So that whole staff, whatever that number is, you know, 1150, they really have to be on board at the latest the first week of October, because you've got to do on-site training as well. Now, the dancing dealers, Benny, you're very familiar with this concept. You know, we've started hiring them back in early August because we've got to send them to school. And we just can't, you know, we can't train 100 girls. So we've partnered with a school here in Las Vegas to train them. So we've done it in waves, and every week we have more auditions. We have people send in disc or do Skype auditions from around the country that are interested in moving too. So that's challenging, though, to hire 100 girls, 100 dancing dealers, and then train them all, right? Because not all of them will make it through. And so you really got to hire about 120 and hope you get 90. And you understand this very well. But it's been challenging. It's been very challenging. So we have a long way to go, but the program on opening night, what's going to go on the pool deck from 10 p.m. till about 11:30 on Tuesday the 27th, with the first bet being back downstairs at midnight on the 28th. The show that Derek has put together is you know, he stops at nothing. He's brought in one of the most famous MCs in the world to do this. Mike Palm's not good enough anymore for an event on this. It's not a Keno slot tournament, but anyhow, or a roast. But it's spectacular what's going to happen, and it's black tie. There's just short of 2,000 people invited. Strict black tie, and the coordination of just those 24 hours, I mean, is mind-boggling. And then we still don't know what the restriction levels will be. So we can plan, and we might be throwing a curveball at the end too, and we might have to change everything. So we're really looking forward to just getting through it and getting the place open.
So I'm hearing a rumor like the black tie invite, which I expect to get one, is going to outdo the Raiders season ticket extravaganza, where you open it up and it plays the fight song and all that, right?
I think it will be more special to people that receive it. I don't want to give it away, but it's something very, very personal from Derek. It's something along that scale. It's very heavy. There's a lot of shipping costs involved. But instead of giving people the gift, their invite is the gift. Instead of people flying here for the opening, Benny, and then having to try to transport this large, heavy gift back on a plane, why not ship it to them, and then they have it already?
I can imagine. He's in the bolt business, so I can understand it's going to be heavy, right?
Blackjack and bolts, yeah.
So let's talk about the staff. Now, you said you've hired about 800. I would think, being the current environment in Las Vegas, that you may have found some talent, because there's some good properties that I know a lot of guys have reached out to me and, you know, considered moving back east or something like that. That's just thrown in the towel. I mean, a couple of the Caesars property, a couple of the MGM properties still haven't opened. Have you been able to draw from some of them properties where the guys are furloughed?
It's actually been beneficial in recruitment, the current situation, because of so many qualified people with experience, Benny, that don't have a job right now, and they don't know. They don't know. I mean, the people that work at Planet Hollywood have no idea if they're reopened. I mean, they're not being told anything. And from people from around the country, Louisiana, the Missouri market, the Minnesota, Wisconsin market, Chicagoland. I'm getting a lot. I want to hire casino hosts from all around the country, honestly, that can bring people to Las Vegas that have a book. So we've been pretty blessed with a good pool of applicants for most positions.
Yeah, so you've had a couple breaks as far as Circus is concerned. The first break you had, was you were able to speed up construction somewhat because of the lockdown and the pandemic. And then now, your talent pool, you've probably got access you wouldn't have had if you can imagine if the town was fully open. You guys would struggle a little bit, it'd be more of a task than what you're sure. I'm sure it's been much better. So everything's on track for the 28th. We open the doors to gambling, or we make the first bet midnight on the 28th. Is that correct?
That's correct, Benny. We're actually going to have the black tie folks come in around 7 p.m. and then the doors will open to the public at midnight, and the first bet will be real close to there. And
the 7th game of the World Series will be playing as well.
Well, and Derek hopes it's the Tigers versus the Marlins, because he has a bet to win $1 million on either of them, both to get to the World Series and to win it at the Westgate. So that would be the dream scenario for Derek Stevens.
Yeah, the dream scenario would be to have the World Series up on that big screen by the pool, right? Wow, exciting. What's the so okay? We opened Circa, and now that's behind us. So what's the 2021 vision for D-Rock Gaming? More expansion of the Circus sports, or we got our eyes on tearing some other building down in downtown? What's the next move?
Well, Circa is really not all day one, right? Phase one. So the convention space is a 2021 project. The meeting space, the ballroom, and the spa as well. Spa is more early 2021. The convention space later in 2021, and then we're going to shell out some floors, right? There's 777 total rooms, but we're going to open with 512, and then we have 8 floors that we don't really know yet, depending on what our customer that we're going to attract there. What's the suite mix? What does it need to be? How should we build out? So we wanted to save some floors to make sure that we could be flexible with our room mix. And so that's another project for down the road. So really the focus is to continue to open up Circa, and then maybe there's a project or two in line with the rooms at the Golden Gate, and of course expanding the Circus sports brand. Tuscany's a big deal. Colorado. There's other states, obviously, Iowa, New Jersey. We look at, and then and Northern Nevada. So we want to continue to expand the Derek Stevens brand as much as we can.
I can see a D in Tahoe. Boy, that would, the D Tahoe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be interesting. So last question, as far as the business is concerned, Mike, how much impact do you think Circa will have on even your 2 properties, but the other properties downtown?
Well, I think it'll have a great impact. We're not trying to steal from them. Now, there may be a natural crossover with the Nugget, right? Because of the tier of the hotel product. But our goal is not to steal market share. We're partners downtown with everybody, right? That's a collaborative, the Fremont Street experience. We want to bring in new customers from out of market, and we want to bring in strip customers that never really want to go downtown. But hey, there's this unbelievable greatest pool in the history of the world, Derek Stevens' words, and there's this unbelievable greatest sports book in the history of the world. Again, Derek Stevens' words. So that we can attract a new customer to downtown. So the rising tide will lift all ships. In other words, we're not trying to beat up on our neighbors. We're not going to steal the Hawaiian customers from Boyd. You know what I mean? But we'll bring more customers downtown that may walk across the street to see what what DeKalb has to offer, or Main Street Station, or, you know. So I think it helps everybody to have this downtown.
Well, it's always beneficial to have an equal class business right across the street from you. It always works. You can see it. You know, there's a McDonald's, there's a Burger King, yada yada yada, and you know, that's just the natural way business goes. Okay, let's get into something I really am just all over. Of course, you can see all the night stuff I got on. I'm going nuts. I don't care if they lost last night. That was no big deal. So you know yourself, Mike, that a cheap horse can get out front and lead the race for about a half a mile, but ultimately the class horse is going to reach up and grab the roses when the race is over. And same thing with the Golden Knights. But one thing we've come upon a little bit of drama or whatever is this Flurry controversy. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting because the city is so obsessed about Flurry. And, you know, once they blew the 3-1 lead and it became 3-3, there was such a public outcry to play Flurry in Game 7. I was in the host meeting at 5 o'clock on Friday night Pacific time here. And, you know, that's a big meeting. I mean, over 30 people. We're sitting up there in the Detroit ballroom at the D Casino on the 12th floor. And the text came through that DeBoer had announced Leonard would start. And before I announced that, I just polled the whole room and I said, how many of you think that Robin Leonard should start tonight by show of hands? And it was 3 people. It was me and Banks and one other host. And so the other 30 people all thought Flurry. Look, it was not Robin Leonard's fault that they lost games 5 and 6. I mean, it wasn't. And no more was it Flurry's fault that they lost last night. I mean, not at all. I mean, there was a deflected puck and, you know, he gave up a goal 3 minutes in. They never scored. So I think, in my opinion, Leonard is the better goalie right now at this point in their careers. I know some people will argue Flurry deserves to have the chance because of what he's done through the years, because of the Stanley Cups and what he did taking an expansion team to the Stanley Cup. But I think you put the goalie that gives you the best chance to win today in there, and it's Leonard. I was a little surprised he went with Flurry. See these the finals all in Edmonton now, the conference finals. There's no back-to-backs. It's all one day off, one day off, one day off as they rotate east and west. So I thought they would probably go with Leonard, but it's nobody's fault. Flurry played well last night. They've got to generate more offense. This is a Dallas Stars team. I said last year before the Stanley Cup playoffs started that the Blues would upset the Jets, Stars would upset the Predators. They'd meet in the second round and go 7 games, and whoever won that series would win the Cup, and the Blues did, and they won it, and I had my ticket on the Blues. Preseason this year, and it's a year ago, last September, I bet 2 teams to win the Cup. I bet the Islanders at 30-1 and the Stars at 15-1. I love those 2 coaches, Trotz and General Jim Montgomery. But General Jim Montgomery got himself in trouble and got released early in the year. So, but this team, Dallas team, is built on defense. And for the first time in the whole playoffs, they imposed their will on the defensive side. The Knights have got to get more quality chance. They got to skate better. This Dallas team got to all the pucks. They never really threatened last night. I felt there were very few scoring chances on either side. And if the series is played like that, Dallas is very capable of winning it.
Well, I really think, and we've seen one of the most amazing performances during the last series, you know, from the rookie goalie of the Canucks. It was amazing. I mean, what he had, like 110 shots on goal in 138 minutes without giving up a goal. And I mean, the Knights literally beat themselves to death trying to shoot the puck at this guy. So I wasn't surprised that we didn't have a lot of offense last night. I felt they would just need a little bit more recovery time, and I expect tomorrow night to be a whole different story. And God help the goalie tomorrow night for the Dallas Stars, because the puck is going to be coming at hot and heavy. So
well, you got to give credit, as you mentioned, the Vancouver backup, Ronald Reagan's favorite goalie, Thatcher Demko. I mean, he stopped, 125 out of 127 shots. It was an amazing performance. And, you know, Leonard made an incredible glove save on a 2-on-1 that if Vancouver gets the lead in that game, we might not even be talking about the Vegas Golden Knights right now.
We definitely may not. And, yes, I'm telling you what, I sat there in just utter amazement after hearing about shot after shot after shot. I was driving home, and this kid just would not cave. He would not cave in, and he was the star of that series. I mean, no matter what. They were very hesitant to put him in that position, but he came through. Okay, well, let's talk about something that I know you used to be a harness racing fan. I don't know if you're following as much as you were, but we got a horse in harness racing. It's won 13 straight, I think, 14, named Tall Dark Stranger. You're going to have to look him up, Mike. Mm-hmm. We talk about winning, and that's what it's all about when you're running a sports book. It's all about the winners and not the losers. And this Tall Dark Stranger's won every major event since he's been 2 years old. He's got one more race to win to have taken them all, and that will be the Low Brown Jug in Delaware, which will be raced without spectators for the most part. Maybe the horsemen, of course, will be allowed in. But what was your thoughts the other day, speaking of horses, the Kentucky Derby, seeing that massive facility of Churchill Downs absolutely vacant as the horses came down the stretch?
I was thinking about the economy of Louisville, Kentucky. I was thinking about the economy of Saratoga Springs, New York, and that Adirondack area, how much they take these hits. I mean, Churchill Downs has become a one weekend a year racetrack. Let's face it, it's not quality racing. To bring over 100,000 people there is very important to the community. And Saratoga as well. San Diego's a little different for Del Mar, right? They get tourists all year long. I just took my wife and son down to Coronado Island for a few days, and the weather and everything, they're going to be okay. But it's sad because it's an experience. A lot of people have gone every year of their lives or had a 20-year streak or a 30-year streak, and it got shut down this year. But I didn't follow because I couldn't follow the prep races through the early months of the year. I had no opinion on the race. I really didn't. I'm used to watching all these horses run in the preps and start following them as 2-year-olds, and I hadn't. So I didn't bet, and I haven't followed harness, to be honest with you. I hadn't followed harness racing. I mean, last year I was in love with Lather Up, the Montel Trig horse, the older pacer. And I'll tell you, in harness racing now, Benny, they don't need to retire these horses after 3. They've done a lot to keep these 4- and 5-year-olds, especially the pacers, racing. And maybe this Tall Dark Stranger will continue on. Where's he from and who drives him, Benny?
He's trained by Nancy Tacker, who's Jimmy Tacker's daughter, I believe. Mm-hmm. And he's based in New Jersey right now. His last big win was the North American Cup. And what these guys are going through now, Mike, Yannick Gingras, he had to stay up there for 2 weeks to drive that horse and be away from his family. It's crazy times. It really is crazy times for all sports, let alone harness or thoroughbred racing. So has he
raced on half-mile tracks, Benny?
I think he made one start on a half-mile track, but he was in so easy it was a joke. So
very tough. It's very tough going to that track.
He's a big horse too, and it'll be interesting to see him get around the jug comes the 3rd week of September. So let's talk about the Raiders. How's the Raiders look?
I don't know that they can compete in that division with Kansas City in there. They might be the worst team in the division. I don't know what they've done defensively to try to stop Patrick Mahomes in that Kansas City. I don't think they have enough speed on defense. I'm not a Raiders fan, you know that, but I think it's still going to take Gruden. I know he's got this long contract, and he really hasn't even settled on a quarterback, but I think they're still a few years away, and if they could win, I would be surprised if they got to 500 this year. I think they're a 6, maybe a 7-win team. So I'll tell you something, though. The owner, Mark Davis, came up to Derek and I and said, can I come and watch the games at the Circus Sportsbook when you open it? And we said, really? He said, well, we're not having any fans. I said, if I can't have them all, I'm not having any. And if I don't have fans, I'm not going to the games either. So I'd like to come and watch my team play at the new Circus Sportsbook. So we'd be thrilled to have Mark Davis come down every week.
Oh, what a win! What a win that would be. Well, that's where I was going. Where being that there's going to be no fans at the Raiders, are we going to open up the downtown event center and do a blowout like you do for the hockey games, or what's the strategy there?
So it all depends on the restrictions. We're still at this 50-person. It's very funny, Benny. The pool deck at Circa does not have the restrictions because it's zoned as a pool. But even the event center is still at a 50-person max. So until they can at least get us to 50% capacity, where we could have 3, 4, or 5, it doesn't even make sense. So it's all depending on what's the standards going to be for regulation. But that is an idea. If we get to a point here soon where we get to 50%, it's something. I don't know how long it'll be before we get live entertainment back. I've heard people say it might not even be 2021.
Sure. Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. So the Raiders, how many games do you think they're going to win?
I would put the number at, let's just say 7. I'll predict 7.
All right. Well, speaking about predictions, it's that time of the show here where the palm reader comes out and gives his predictions, and maybe we'll set up a money line too. But we'll go with a prediction first. Who wins the NFC?
Well, you probably have to start with the team that was the best team last year, which was the 49ers. I think the NFC North is bad, Benny, and you're in AFC North, NFC North type territory there. Really AFC North, but I'll say this, and I'm not a big pro Detroit sports team, but the Lions could win that division. I just don't, that's a mix. I'm not in love with Philadelphia or Dallas. The NFC South should be better. Obviously, they got Brady added to the division, but that's a tough division with New Orleans. Atlanta will be better, believe me. And so then you look at the West. I just don't think the offensive and defensive lines of Seattle's that good, and I'm not a big Jared Goff guy. I think that's more of a mirage. So I would lean back to the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay, we're going to hold you to it. San Francisco, last. That's it. Final answer, right?
Oh, yeah, that's the final answer.
Okay, AFC Championship. Who's that going to be?
That's interesting. It's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I think this kid could be the face of the league for the next 10, 12 years. And yet Baltimore was such a dominant team last year. Can Lamar Jackson win in the playoffs? They so dominate in the regular season. Harbaugh's brother is a great coach, John Harbaugh. I respect him a lot. I think it comes back to those. I'm not giving you any long shots here, but I think it comes back down to those two teams. And I'll go with Baltimore this time. I'm going to say Baltimore, who played them very tough in Kansas City last year. I'm going to say that Baltimore, if they get a shot at Kansas City in the playoffs, wins this time. So I'll say the Baltimore Ravens.
So that innovative quarterback run style football, you think that that wasn't a one-hit wonder? That'll continue?
I think they're explosive. And Will Lamar, he's not a small guy. It's not like he's the little munchkin from Oklahoma. This kid is put together and he can take the pounding. Now, if he gets injured, obviously that's an issue. Would be for any quarterback. But I like that. I'm not a big fan of the passing game anyhow. I'm an under player, so we like to run the ball and keep that clock moving, Benny. So we'll say 49ers Ravens in a rematch to the Super Bowl where the lights went out.
All right. So fans at the Super Bowl, what's the over/under?
How many?
Yeah. No, I mean,
that's it.
Well, no, not how many. What's the morning line on money line on chances there being fans at the Super Bowl?
Well, I would say it's probably a pretty heavy favorite. There will be fans. It's Florida, right? They're playing in Tampa again, unless Florida goes down the tubes again with the COVID. I think it's probably -$4. There's fans, and then capacity is somewhere around 25 to 30%.
Very good. So who wins the Stanley Cup?
Well, I would love to be the Islanders for my ticket, or the Stars for my ticket, or the Knights for my team. I think Tampa Bay is the best team. So I would say right now Tampa Bay would win the Stanley Cup.
So you've had some time to watch baseball play out somewhat. I think we're about halfway through, or maybe more than halfway through, somewhere around there.
We're more than halfway through.
So I know what Derek wants, but what does the Palm Reader say the two teams in the World Series will be?
Interesting. I really like this White Sox team, but they haven't had the playoff experience. So, sometimes it takes a team some time to play in the playoffs, but they really impressed me in the American League. My bet was Oakland to win the West, which is holding up okay so far. Houston's having their trouble. The A's to win the West. So the Yankees are just decimated. They're so decimated by injuries. They didn't really go out and get another starter. Cole looks human. Tampa Bay probably is the best team in that division. Cleveland and Minnesota, I love the pitching staffs. They struggle to score runs at times. Maybe I'll give you an off-the-wall prediction and say the Chicago White Sox are going to go to the World Series from the American League. And then, the Dodgers look to be heads and, there's such a gap between the Dodgers and the rest of the teams. They haven't won the World Series. They keep getting there and losing it. But I think that somebody's going to have to beat the Dodgers, and it's going to be no small task. The chink in the armor is probably the bullpen. I don't know that Kenley Jensen is, after all these years, is still the answer. But so my pick would be Dodgers over White Sox right now.
In 7, you hope, because
what it'd be terrific if we had that game on the big screen, inside and outside.
So okay, let's move off of sports, and so our president's hinting that we're going to have a vaccine by Election Day. What's the money line on that?
Oh, it'll be after Election Day. There's too much politics to get it out before. I would say that to have it by Election Day is plus 280.
So I should have researched what you said, but I think I think you had the presidency at Trump. You'd switched the favorite to Trump in our last conversation 3 weeks to like minus 105 or something like that. Where's that line stand now?
The betting public in real life, it's very interesting because Biden had become a 130, 135 favorite, and now it's back close to a pick again, right? With Biden being a very slight favorite in those offshore betting markets. Yeah, it's going to be close. I mean, so many factors. Will certain demographics be able to get out and vote? Is it coming in the mail? What's going to happen? Trump is very cagey, though. As much of a lunatic as he is, he's very cagey. I mean, here he is meeting with the Big Ten commissioner, trying to get football in the Big Ten. Well, there's all the swing states are in the Big Ten. The whole election is in the Big Ten. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin. Come on. So he can go out and say, look, I tried to get you football. So, and I thought, Benny, I don't know if you got – on this Thursday, Friday, where so many sports didn't play because of the shooting in Kenosha, and the sports didn't play, I said to my wife, if Trump wins the election, he might have won it tonight, because with no sports on, how many tens of millions of people were watching his speech in front of the White House instead of a sporting event? And my God, wasn't that a powerful image? I'm not picking one side or the other here.
Yeah.
But the image of him standing with the hurricane breezes, blowing the flags in the background, that beautiful blue suit he had on, compared to Biden, who was in front of some church with nobody there. It was just a very, very, very powerful image. I mean, if there's one thing our president knows how to do, it's how to produce a TV show. So it was great theater, and I would still lean that he would be reaelected.
So even the hair was blowing like Marilyn Monroe's dress. It was toughing that whatever that is he's got going there. So that was great. So all right. So last question on the presidency. All right. Do you think there hasn't been a good controversy since Al Gore and, it's time for me to go speech? Do you think this election, no matter which way it goes, will be contested?
Oh, I don't know that. I think that it would be more likely it's contested if Trump wins than if Biden wins. But I wouldn't say that it's a favorite that it would be contested. There's just, people are very passionate right now. The country is, as Derek Stevens said, the country has never been so polar opposite. I mean, it used to be there was 40% on one side, 20 in the middle. Now it's like 47, and 6. I mean, in every issue is whether you should wear a mask, everybody's mad at you. You're either a masker and you're horrible, or you're an anti-masker. I mean, you're against civil rights, or you're on. I mean, everything is black and white. There's no middle ground on everything, and it's a shame because there can't be a public discussion. There's no point to say anything at all because you're wrong, and anything you say offends 50% of the country, one way or the other. So it's incredible, though. It's really incredible, and it's a tough spot to be in. So I just hope that it's peaceful, that the election gets certified and there's peace. I mean, we hope for peace now anyhow in ours, but I hope when this election is over, there's peace.
Well, I think the lockdown has aggravated a situation somewhat beyond what it would have been, right? I mean, everybody's just pent up with frustration, and they want it to be over, like it's been years, but it hasn't been years. But moments turn into months, and months turns into years, and in people's mind, their perception is they've just been locked on too long. And Mike, I've had you locked in too long on this broadcast, and I'm going to let you go. But you got any final words out there for the viewers?
Well, look, if you want to get into 2 football contests, you still got till Saturday. There's proxy services available. Come on out to Las Vegas. If you live in Nevada, obviously you can sign up and put the picks in on your app. You can be in Nevada. It's really great spending time with you. I'm glad you turned me on to this horse. Maybe I can start, how avid a harness fan I am. I can get back into something, have something good to cheer for, an undefeated horse. We didn't have that until Some Beach Somewhere got beat in that great maybe the greatest race of all time, that 2008 Meadowlands Pace, where and that was Gingras. By the way, remember Pierce drove on with Artificial and made top around Mucho Sleazy, and Gingras pulled Bullville Powerful out, and that's what forced Some Beach Somewhere to go 3 wide. And he had to go 3. He had to work him so hard, to get to the lead. And what was it? In 51 and 4 in the half, 3 wide. And then they asked Yannick, who's going to be on Tall Dark Stranger, why did you do that? Did you cost him an undefeated career? He said, the owner supplemented the horse for $100,000. I wasn't going to ride the rail and try to come in 5th. I had to take a shot. And I always admired Gingras for that.
Yeah, he's quite the athlete and quite the professional too. One question I want to get in when you talked about getting into the football contest, I didn't ask you, is there any kind of, if you buy 3, do you get some kind of discount or anything like that going on with this thing?
Well, we did a hotel deal where if you buy 3, we give you 2 nights in the hotel. And if you buy the maximum, the 8, the 3 in one and 5 in the other, we give you a suite for 2 nights. So that's sort of how we did it for people coming in out of state.
Oh, very good. All right, everybody. Mike Palm, thanks for being on B&O. We'll see you next time. Remember, down here somewhere, if you made it this far, which I know you did because Mike's quite a celebrity here on B&O, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and that way we can get more guys, big names like Mike Palm to come on this show. So until next week, remember to be in the know.